What's your host, Hollis, back with my retro reviews with the last Survivor Series of this year, the 2006 edition of Survivor Series. Now, I know my brother's here, but I'll put him back on here for my best and worst of wrestling next month for Tuesday, December 24th, but that this maybe on Christmas Day. I don't know. I'll think about that. I'll think about that, really. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll give him a sheet. Maybe I'll get him back on here for like the end of this, maybe. Regardless. But let's talk about Survivor Series 2006. Overall, it was still a good show. Again, like the second time I see this, 06 was a pretty good year. But next week, for December, and the first one we're gonna talk about, but not yet. But yeah, November 26th, it was a Raw, SmackDown, and ECW branded pay-per-view. This was the first time in Survivor Series that there's a tri-branded pay-per-view, meaning all three brands are present. It was in the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, yeah. That's there. And it's Thanksgiving Day as well, so we'll talk about this. So, yeah. So we get done with all the Survivor Series for this Saturday. A live review of that on my main channel, so there's that. Starting off with the first of three. By the way, this has let me put it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on the card, and 3 championships were on the line here. So we'll start with the first of 3 Survivor Series elimination matches. The Team WWE Legends of Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair. It was supposed to be Roddy Piper, but he was in really bad shape around this time. So Ron Simmons took his spot. And Sergeant Slaughter defeats the Spear Squad of Johnny, Kenny Dykstra, the man who works on behind the scenes now in WWE, Mikey and Nikki, the future Dolph Ziggler. Ugh. But regardless, this was kind of a rough Survivor Series elimination match. I mean, the orders of eliminations are Ron Simmons was eliminated by count out. Sergeant Slaughter was eliminated by Dolph Ziggler, really. Nikki, and then he gets eliminated by Dusty Rhodes, and then Dusty Rhodes was eliminated by Kenny Dykstra, and then Ric Flair went on a one-man elimination spree. Eliminates Mikey, and then Kenny, and then came down to Johnny, Ric Flair, and geez, who's gonna fucking go over here? Yes, Ric Flair with the figure 4 leg lock, and then afterwards the Spirit Squad are bad losers, and they beat up Ric Flair afterwards, and then the night after they get taken to a crate that says OVW, which was their developmental territory around this time period. Yeah, this was a rough watch. It's just 2, I'll give it. But then the next 4 matches is where the show actually picked up. Next up is for the United States Championship. Chris Benoit defeats Chavo Guerrero by submission to retain the United States Championship. Cruiserweight, what the fuck? Unfortunately, this was during the time where Ray got hurt and missing 2 WrestleManias. That's 23 and 24, by the way. But they still keep talking about Eddie Guerrero around here. This was a year after he passed away, by the way. And Benoit was gone throughout the summer. He came back and won the U.S. title against Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, I bet you forgot Mr. Kennedy was the United States champion. And then Chavo and Benoit feuded over here, and the match was solid. I think the Armageddon 06 match was the month after this match, pay-per-view, was better than this. So I give it a 7 out of 10 for that. Next up is for the WWE Women's Championship. And this was Leah's retirement match, quotation mark, because we all know she will be having more matches after this pay-per-view. Well, not on a full time, mind you. Mickie James defeats Leah to win the Women's Championship in her retirement match. But, I mean, you look at Leah around this time, she had a really rough years about it, which at some point I will talk about that whole trapezoid love story between her, Kane, Matt Hardy, and Edge, with Snitsky involved in it. And how they treat her afterwards, instead of what, just like back in Unforgiven, when Trish had her retirement match, quotation mark, because she had more matches after this. Recently is last year, which I was at the Payback pay-per-view, which, yes. What they did here was so stupid. That Crime Time trying to... This... Man, Raw in 2006 was really, really weird. And this was one of them. I mean, the best thing about it was JBL saying, I want those thieves arrested. They stole my money. You can't say that now in 2024, so don't you dare, or... Never mind. But the match overall was solid. Again, 6 out of 10 I'll give it, but... At least there was time in this match. And there. Just a bad way for Leah to go out. Well, she got more respect after all this. Just, what the fuck is... Next up is another 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team DX, and this has to be one of the best Survivor Series teams ever. It's Shawn Michaels, Triple H, CM Punk, and the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. You can tell this was an all-star team between those 5 right there. And then they defeated Team Rated RKO, which was Edge, Randy Orton, Gregory Helms, Johnny Nitro, and Mike Knox. Yeah, it's an all-star team versus, in all intents and purposes, the minor leagues team. Minus Edge and Randy Orton, of course, but... And this was mostly a clean sweep. Literally. Mike Knox was the first man eliminated by Shawn Michaels. And Shawn Michaels says, who was that? That was funny. Though. There was a funny part about this before I get to the next elimination, where Shawn Michaels and Malia freaked out when they react this part last year with Seth Rollins and Rhea Ripley, which that was more funnier than this when Seth does his, oh yeah, and then they freaked out. Anyways, then Johnny Nitro was eliminated by CM Punk by submission. And then Gregory Helms was eliminated by Matt Hardy, and then Edge was eliminated by Shawn Michaels. And it's like Randy Orton all alone, and he was like, oh fuck, I'm the last one left. And you think Randy Orton's gonna overcome the odds? No. He was the last man eliminated by Triple H. So, payback from 2004. This was a more like an entertaining Survivor Series match. And, yeah, Team DX clean sweep this. 7.5 I'll give this. Anyways, next up is a First Blood match. Now, this is the story of Mr. Kenny Undertaker, which I mentioned during my road to WrestleMania from earlier this year about Undertaker. You know, he went from after the Great Khali, and then he had the feud with Mr. Kenny because I think his storyline, Kenny wants to go to Raw, and then Teddy Long says, "You're going one-on-one with The Undertaker," which they had the match at No Mercy where Undertaker got himself disqualified, which that was not for the U.S. title, by the way, which, can you imagine Undertaker around this time period going after the secondary power on SmackDown? That would be ridiculous. Then Undertaker cost Mr. Kennedy his U.S. title to Benoit, and I led up to that match with him and Chavo. Benoit does. And this led to the First Blood match. Mr. Kennedy defeats The Undertaker in the First Blood match. You know, it was a good match. But their last Ride match at Armageddon is their best one. But this was still a good First Blood match. MVP got involved, which he tried to cause Kane the match, but he inadvertently, quotation marks, hits The Undertaker in the head, and that caused The Undertaker to bleed to let Mr. Kane win the matchup. Undertaker was a bad loser and attacks Kennedy and hits the roughest chair shots ever. You thought the one he did on Shawn Michaels in the first Hell in a Cell match was rough. This was more rough, and chair shots to the head are really uncomfortable to look at. Still, a 7.5 I'll give it. Nah, I actually give it an 8, actually, yeah, an 8. Because it was actually their last Ride match was better than this. Yeah. And then we get the semi-main event spot, the final 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team Cena of John Cena, who was the WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley, Kane, Rob Van Dam, and Sabu. They defeat Team Big Show of Big Show, Finlay, MVP, Test, and Umaga. Umaga around the time was going after John Cena's WWE Championship at New Year's Revolution, which, yeah. Around the time Bobby Lashley went to the ECW brand, which, more on that when I talk about next week's review. Oh, God. But anyways, the order of eliminations. Umaga was disqualified. This was a way to protect him because he was still on an undefeated streak. So, give him a pass. MVP was eliminated by Rob Van Dam, and then afterwards Rob Van Dam was eliminated by Test. And then Test was eliminated by Sabu, and then Sabu was eliminated by The Big Show, and then Kane was eliminated by The Big Show, and then Finlay was eliminated by Bobby Lashley. Because around the time Lashley and Finlay were having a random feud, but that feud just dropped when Lashley went to the ECW brand. Oh, God. More of that I talk about next week's review. Stay tuned. And then it came out to Big Show versus John Cena and Lashley, and it's sort of similar to the 2003 Survivor Series elimination match where it was down to Big Show versus John Cena and Chris Benoit, but the only difference is down to Big Show versus John Cena and Bobby Lashley, and just like Survivor Series 2003, Big Show was the last man eliminated on his team when John Cena eliminated him. 8.5 I'll give it. It was the best match on this show, and yes, it was a good Survivor Series elimination match. And yeah, what's weird about all of these? Well, the first one I'm okay with. The second one I'm okay having JR and the King on commentary, but I think the third one is unnecessary to have JR and King commentate this match because Joey Styles and Taz were not all here, but you might just put Michael Cole and JD commentating this match, but nope. But anyways, the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was Batista's last chance. This is like the first of two times Batista got a last chance to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He had with Edge in 2007 with that very eerie Vengeance pay-per-view, which, yeah, that show sucked. And Teddy Long says, hey, if King Booker gets counted out or disqualified, he will automatically lose the World Heavyweight Championship. Batista defeats King Booker to win back the World Heavyweight Championship. This was a boring-ass match. I mean, they don't have chemistry at all. I mean, I love Booker. I love Batista. And sometimes they don't work together. And that shoot fight before SummerSlam, the SummerSlam commercials, be a little respectful about that. If you know, you know. There's that. Batista wins. It was obviously... He's the new World Heavyweight Championship. He would drop it at WrestleMania to Undertaker. And, yeah, that's how Survivor Series ends. I give it a 3.5 out of 10, I'll give it. It was slightly better than the SummerSlam match, but... It was just... It was not that great. So your best match was Team Cena versus Team Big Show, and I give the worst match on the show to the opener, really. So that's Survivor Series 2006. That's my new, it's to counter James from Rio Pro Wrestling himself. The golden ring bell and the brown ring bell, except it's the best match I pick and the worst match I pick on these shows. So there. So, Survivor Series 06 overall was... It was a good show. If it wasn't for the opener in the main event, it would have been one of the better Survivors, but it still was one of the better Survivor Series ever. 6.5 I'll give it. Next week. It's funny because the next show I talk about, it's a week after this pay-per-view. December to Dismember 2006. Fuck me. Before I sign off, let me get somebody up here. Say hello to him.
What's up, everybody?
I just already wrapped up Survivor Series 06, so... the next week, I'm going to talk about...
ECW.
December to Dismember 06.
Okay.
The worst.
Terrible.
The worst, but that's next week. You will be back here for my best and worst of wrestling in December.
Oh, yeah. I will.
Christmas time?
Yeah, you'll see me on Christmas, actually. I'll be here with my kid.
Yeah. So, there's that. So, tomorrow will be my SmackDown review, and then I'll live review Survivor Series on my main channel. So, there's that. So, like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel here, click the notification bell, as well as my main channel also. So next week... Yeah, I have to say more about that.
Say no more.
That's next week. So there, bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone for watching us also.
Happy Thanksgiving.